Hi, this is Waking Up with Wisdom, and today we bring you the remarkable story of Asanga, a revered Indian Buddhist saint from the 4th century. His journey of devotion, perseverance, and the transformative power of compassion teaches us profound lessons about life and spiritual growth. Let's dive into his extraordinary tale. Asanga, a deeply spiritual man, aspired to receive a vision of the Buddha Maitreya, a future Buddha known for his immense wisdom and compassion. His goal was not just to see Maitreya, but to be blessed with teachings that would not only enlighten him, but also help humanity. With this in mind, Asanga left the comforts of the world and retreated into the solitude of the mountains. He immersed himself in intense meditation, hoping that his devotion and rigorous practice would eventually lead to a divine encounter. For 6 long years, Asanga meditated in isolation, enduring all kinds of hardships. The cold winters, the burning summers, the loneliness of the mountains. He accepted it all in the hope of achieving his spiritual goal. But despite his relentless effort, he didn't even experience an encouraging dream or a sign from the Buddha Maitreya. He felt his prayers were unanswered, and his heart was heavy with disappointment. He had sacrificed so much, yet it seemed like his aspirations were slipping away. Finally, after 6 years of unyielding practice, Asanga decided that he had failed. He thought that maybe he wasn't worthy of Maitreya's blessings, or perhaps the Buddha wasn't willing to appear to him. Broken-hearted, he abandoned his retreat and began the journey back to the life he had left behind. On his way down the mountain, Asanga came across a curious sight. He saw a man sitting by the side of the road, working with an enormous iron bar. The man was meticulously rubbing the bar with a piece of silk cloth. Intrigued, Asanga approached the man and asked, "What are you doing with that iron bar?" The man looked up and, without hesitation, replied, "I don't have a needle, so I'm going to make one out of this iron bar." Asanga was stunned. "How can you possibly think you'll turn that massive iron bar into a needle by rubbing it with a piece of silk?" he asked. The man shrugged and said, "With enough time and effort, anything is possible." Hearing this, Asanga was filled with a sense of wonder. Here was a man dedicating himself to an impossible task, yet showing such determination and persistence. If this man was willing to devote his energy to something so trivial, how could he, Asanga, give up on his sacred spiritual journey? Feeling ashamed for his lack of perseverance, Asanga turned around and returned to his hermitage, determined to continue his meditation. 3 more years passed. Despite his renewed effort, Asanga still had no sign from Maitreya. 9 years of devoted practice had yielded nothing, and now, more than ever, he felt certain that he would never succeed. His heart heavy with defeat, Asanga left the mountains once again. As he wandered down the road, trying to make peace with his decision, he saw another strange sight. A man stood at the base of a gigantic rock that towered into the sky. The man was rubbing the rock with a feather dipped in water. Puzzled, Asanga asked, "What are you doing?" The man replied, "This rock blocks the sunlight from reaching my house. I'm trying to wear it down so I can have more light." Asanga was astounded by the man's unwavering commitment to such a seemingly impossible task. Once again, he felt a deep sense of shame. Here was a man laboring with endless patience to move a mountain, while Asanga had given up on his spiritual practice despite the magnitude of its importance. Humbled and inspired, Asanga returned to his retreat for the 3rd time, determined to persevere no matter what. Another 3 years passed. It had now been a full 12 years since Asanga began his spiritual quest, and still, he had not experienced the vision of Maitreya that he so desperately longed for. His spirit was crushed. Convinced that he was unworthy, Asanga left the mountains for what he believed was the final time. As he walked, feeling a profound sense of failure, he came across a heart-wrenching sight. Lying on the side of the road was a severely injured dog. The dog was in terrible condition. Its hind legs were missing, and the lower half of its body was decaying and covered with writhing maggots. The poor creature, though suffering immensely, was still fiercely trying to bite at passers-by, dragging itself across the ground with its remaining legs. Seeing the dog's immense suffering, Asanga was overcome with an overwhelming sense of compassion. He knelt beside the animal, tears filling his eyes, and his heart swelled with empathy. He could not bear to see the dog suffer any longer. In a selfless act, he cut off a piece of his own flesh to feed the dog, hoping to ease its pain. As he looked at the maggots feeding on the dog's rotting flesh, he knew he had to help them too. But he was worried that if he tried to remove them with his fingers, he might hurt them. In a moment of profound selflessness, Asanga decided the only way to remove the maggots safely was with his tongue. He knelt down, closed his eyes, and leaned in to help the dog. As his tongue touched the ground, he felt a strange sensation. When he opened his eyes, the dog had vanished. In its place stood the radiant figure of the Buddha Maitreya, surrounded by a golden light. Asanga was speechless. At last, the vision he had sought for so long was standing before him. He asked, "Why did you never appear to me during all these years of practice?" Maitreya responded gently, "I have always been with you, but your own negative karma and spiritual obscurations prevented you from seeing me. For 12 years, your meditation practice slowly dissolved these blocks. Your compassion for the suffering dog completely cleared them away, allowing you to see me now." Maitreya then told Asanga, "If you doubt what has happened, place me on your shoulder and go to the marketplace. Ask the people what they see." Following Maitreya's instructions, Asanga lifted him onto his shoulder and went into the marketplace. He asked everyone he met what they saw on his shoulder. Most people simply said, "Nothing." Only one elderly woman, whose karma had been slightly purified, said, "I see the corpse of a decaying dog." At that moment, Asanga fully understood the transformative power of compassion. It wasn't the years of meditation alone that had purified his karma and allowed him to see Maitreya. It was his pure, selfless compassion for the suffering of another being. Maitreya, whose name means loving kindness, had finally revealed himself because Asanga's heart had opened fully to the power of compassion. Maitreya then took Asanga to a celestial realm, where he bestowed upon him many profound teachings that would later become some of the most important in all of Buddhism. This story of Asanga reminds us that while dedication and perseverance are essential in life, it is compassion that ultimately opens the doors to true spiritual insight. The signs we seek are often hidden by our own negative emotions and mental blocks. Through genuine compassion for others, we can purify ourselves and see the world with greater clarity. So remember, it is not always our effort alone that brings success, but the purity of our intentions and the love we show toward others. Compassion is the language of the universe, and when we speak it, the world reveals its deepest truths. This is Waking Up with Wisdom Stories. Thank you for watching, and stay blessed.